Arizona survives on the road while Tennessee, St. Louis, and BYU all lose to unranked teams. We'll get into all of this and more coming up on Hoops and 5, your 5-minute college basketball show. I'm your host, PJ Glasser, and let's get started. Number 2, Arizona continues to find ways to win. Didn't come easy last night in Waco as they were going up against Baylor. The Bears were actually up by 7 at halftime in this game, 41-34. Baylor played a terrific first 20 minutes. This game was tight throughout in the second half. No Koa Pete again for Arizona. Anthony Del Orso, who was their best player against Houston, was also coming into this game questionable. So they were down some guys. They had some guys in there that were hurt. But Arizona just continued to find ways to win, and their backcourt really stepped up in this game. Jaden Bradley and Braden Berries were terrific for Arizona. That's going to be the key for the Wildcats. A lot of these top teams don't really have go-to guards like Florida did with Walter Clayton last year. Arizona, outside of maybe Houston with Kingston Flemings, might have the closest thing. When Jaden Bradley and Berries are on, they're as good as anybody, and they're really tough to beat. And in a tight game on the road, those guys showed up last night and got a big win for Arizona. We also had Tennessee and Missouri last night in the SEC. This was a massive game for Mizzou last night. A team squarely on the bubble. You look at a lot of these bracketologists, and they have Missouri as one of their last 4 teams in, first 4 teams out. Quad 1 opportunity going up against the ranked Volunteers, and Missouri came through. T.O. Barrett was terrific last night for Missouri. Had a career high, led all scorers with 28 points, and Missouri picks up a massive win at home against Tennessee. I like this Missouri team a lot. Last year, their offense was unbelievable. They shot a ton of threes. Could be a sneaky team this year if they potentially can get in to the NCAA tournament. Last night was a big step in the right direction for Mizzou. Really good win at home against Tennessee. Big result in the A-10 last night. St. Louis loses their 3rd game of the season as they go down to Dayton. This is the last time, second time in the last few games for St. Louis that they have lost on the road in A-10 play, and you would expect that as a ranked team going on the road. When they go on the road, these opposing fan bases are going to show up. They're going to have great environments, and this is a rivalry game when St. Louis takes on Dayton, 2 of the top teams in the A-10, 2 of the top 3, as a matter of fact. And this game was all Dayton from start to finish. Their offense came out and they were cooking. They got up to a 16-point lead. St. Louis tried to work their way back, but they just dug themselves into too deep of a hole. Josh Schertz's team should still be fine, comfortably in the NCAA tournament, but I think it's good that they're starting to take everybody's best punches. They're losing some games because they were doing a lot of winning. Now that they've done some losing here in the last couple weeks, they can learn from this. Still the best team in the A-10, still leading VCU by a game in the A-10 as well, but a really nice win for Dayton, and that Atlantic 10 conference tournament is going to be a lot of fun when that gets going in a couple weeks. Finally, from last night, how about this UCF and BYU game out of the Big 12? BYU was coming off that upset win against Iowa State as an underdog. This game against UCF last night, they were a 12.5-point favorite. Folks, they were down by as many as 36 in this game. UCF came out of the gates just absolutely on fire. They were knocking down threes. They had over 50 points in the first half. And then in the second half, it was more UCF. BYU came back to make the score look a lot closer than it actually was, but this was UCF domination from start to finish. BYU did not lead at any point in this game. Really good win for UCF and Johnny Dawkins to get this win over BYU. And if you're BYU, again, no Richie Saunders. They're missing their second best player. DeBanza had 29. He can only do so much, but their defense really let them down and just could not come back against UCF. Some other scores we had from last night. How about Duke beating Notre Dame by 44? Virginia smokes NC State, nearly winning by 30. And Miami of Ohio, the lone unbeaten left, 28-0. We got a pretty good Wednesday card in college basketball tonight. St. John's and UConn, game of the year in the Big East. UConn looking to get some revenge there. Florida goes on the road to take on Texas, and a big game in the SEC. A&M takes on Arkansas. My best bet is going to be in that A&M and Arkansas game. I'm going over 170 and a half. I think this line is too low. You're talking about two of the fastest teams in the SEC. And when you look at when these teams have played Bama, these lines have been in the 180s. That Arkansas-Bama game the other night was 185. When Bama played A&M, that game was near the 180s. This one's at 170 and a half. It just feels like it's too low for two teams that play at a blazing pace, have good offenses, and not great defenses. I'll go over 170 and a half in A&M and Arkansas. That'll do it for Hoops and 5, your 5-minute college basketball show. I'm your host, PJ Glasser. See you guys next time.